Ready? Good evening. I'd like to call to order the City of Leawood Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for December 20th, 2023. Could I have a roll call, please?
Members Munson,
Present.
Dunn.
Here.
Dr. Pepys.
Here.
Clausen.
Here.
Hawk.
Here.
Barrington.
Here.
Bussing. Mr. Chairman, we do have a quorum.
Thank you. The first order of business is the approval of the minutes from the October meeting. Is there a motion or
So
any
moved.
comments?
He moved. Second.
We have a motion for approval of the minutes from the last meeting and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved as written. We have several cases tonight. We have 5 cases. And they're all new business, so let's start with the first one. Case 65-2023, Saul Carlson, owner. This is a request for a fence height exception in accordance with LDO section 16-4-9.4 in an R1 district for a property commonly known as 9520 Belinder Road. The staff have a report, please.
The applicant would like to remove an existing 4-foot-tall chain link fence and complete the enclosure of the rear yard with a 6-foot-tall privacy fence. The home has a significant elevation change from the church. The property backs up to a church,
Yes.
and there's quite a fall. And that portion of the church is the parking lot, so they have cars that pull in and park, and they had lights shine right through the yard into the neighbor's house.
Okay. Are there any questions for staff?
A question, haven't we had a case like this at approximately the same address in the years before?
Yeah, a couple houses down.
Right.
Both went to the board.
Okay. Same issue, too much lighting from the, okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other questions for staff?
So they're going to replace all the chain link that's around their property?
They will replace the chain link. Several of the homes have 6-foot fences that are in place now, and he's going to match what is there
Okay.
with that type of fence.
I believe almost all the other homes have already done the same procedure.
That's correct. This house is the only one on that street that backs up to the church that doesn't have a 6-foot fence.
Okay. Other questions? Is the applicant here? You may come to the lectern and give us your name and address and present your case.
Saul Carlson, 9520 Belinder Road. There's not much else to be said. The church parking lot's significantly higher than my backyard. The embankment's been raised there by about 6 feet, so even a 6-foot fence won't really change that much, but it'll match the other neighbors' yards and give me a bit of privacy, maybe block out a little bit of light from headlights.
Okay. Are there questions for the applicant? Straightforward case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this application? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve case number 65-2023 at 9520 Belinder Road, request for a fence height exception in accordance with the LDO section 16-4-9.4 in an R1 district.
Second.
We have a motion for approval in case 65-2023 and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. You'll be officially notified in writing by the city. You're welcome. The next case this evening is case 66-2023. Actually, the next 2 cases by the same applicant, Joel Piper, owner. This is the first case is a request for an exception to the maximum allowable square footage on a lot in accordance with LDO section 16-2-5.3D in an R1 district for a property commonly known the 12707 Pawnee Lane. Does staff have a report, please?
The applicant is wanting to construct a new storage area on the southeast corner of the home. An exception is requested to construct an addition that will add 96 square feet as shown on the plan.
In the packet, I saw that there was a box that shows the existing square footage of the house and then the total square footage. I presume that that is all verified information?
Yes, sir. That was done by our plans examiner.
Okay. So it meets the exception requirement?
Correct.
Okay. Are there questions for staff?
I was wondering, since there's two cases on this, the other one is a side yard setback for the same area. Does it matter whether we vote on the square footage versus the setback?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is the order of voting, like when we're reviewing it, is there a reason why you put the square footage before the setback?
Correct. Well, no, the next one is the setback. This one is to allow the square footage to exceed,
So we'd have to approve that in order to approve the second one?
yes,
Okay,
correct.
that's the order. So I was just trying to understand which preceded the other, like, in importance. Okay.
Are there other questions for staff?
Yeah, Wade, is this, never mind, that question's for for the side yard setback. Forget it.
Okay. Okay. Is the applicant here? You may come forward and give us your name and address and present your case.
Joel Piper, 12707 Pawnee Lane. So existing setback, my house was basically built on the 13-foot setback, so it's legal but non-conforming. So because I'm trying to build to my existing house line, essentially that side setback is required. The maximal allowable square footage, I think that's including the driveway addition, or kind of added into this square footage, I believe, for the, or maybe, sorry, I guess it is just with the 96 feet, but it's under the 20% exception rule, from my understanding. So everything meets the criteria within those certain guidelines.
Okay. All right.
That's it. Any questions at all?
Wade, I note that this says that one call has been received. Was that a positive call, I assume?
The caller lived on the other side of the home, and she didn't have an issue with the request.
Thank you.
And no other calls had been received.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions for the applicant?
No, Wade, could you put up the plan view of the design? So the addition is the dark hatched part.
Correct.
But then, it falls in line with the existing roof line on the front edge of the house, correct?
The garage is on the front edge there, so then it would basically extend existing sideline, yeah, there, all the way back. It doesn't connect to the garage, it would connect onto the back portion of the home. There's a window there for the kitchen that we didn't want to block, so. And then the architecture will match kind of that bay window in the back, so everything will kind of not be like just a obnoxious box, but just match the existing structure of the house.
So it's intended that your addition will match your existing house?
Yeah, everything. So color, everything, yep, correct.
All right.
So from the rear, you wouldn't, honestly, from just a very slight angle, you'll be able to see that addition essentially from the front of the house, nothing from the rear, you wouldn't even be able to tell, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Are there other questions?
From that particular photo you have in front of us,
Yep, correct.
point out where this addition will be, because I assume the garage is in front.
Yeah, so this is the existing garage.
Where will the addition be?
Yep, sorry. The addition is gonna be like, you can kind of see this like satellite
Okay,
back here.
yeah.
So it's gonna extend just a little further on the back, so it'll be kind of in this area here. So there's a window that you can't see.
That's what I
this-
got by reading the plan, but I wanted
Yeah,
to make
so
sure.
there's a window there, just where the kitchen is, that's why it's extended towards the rear.
And you
Yep.
back onto the golf course?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep, thank you.
That's why I tried to make it look as good as possible from the rear, so.
Will there be, not that it matters in this particular judgment, but will there be access from inside your garage into this new addition?
Yeah, so there's a door on that rear where it extends, I guess if I go back to my plan here. So, thank you. There's a current door that's right here. So
Okay.
it's gonna extend, and then this is that proposed driveway addition, so it's gonna be all concreted
Okay.
into that proposed area, correct?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Other questions? Thank you.
thank you.
Does anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this application? If not, is there a motion from the board?
And Mr. Chairman, I move approval of case 66-2023. Address is 12707 Pawnee Lane. Request for an exception to the maximum allowable square footage on a lot in accordance with the LDO 16-2-5.3 parent F, parent 2 in an R1 district.
Second.
We have a motion for approval in this case and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. You'll be officially notified in writing by the city. The next case is also your case, which is case 67-2023, Joel Piper, owner. This is a request for an exception to the side yard setback in accordance with LDO section 16-2-5.3D in an R1 district for a property commonly known as 12707 Pawnee Lane. Does staff have a report, please?
The applicant is wanting to construct a new storage area on the southeast corner of the home. The new addition is shown on the plan as being 13 feet from the property line. A request for 2 feet is needed to construct the addition as shown on the plan.
So the existing house, so it really matches, the side yard setback matches the existing house, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it meets the exception requirement.
Yes, sir.
You said that there was a letter received, but not a complaint, just a clarification?
Correct, yeah. Well, it wasn't a letter, it was just a call.
Call.
And she just wanted information where the project was going to be, and that she didn't have any issues with it.
Okay. Any questions for staff on this case? Mr. Piper, you may come back up. Give us your name and address again, and you may present your case.
Joel Piper, 12707 Pawnee Lane. Yeah, just as said before, existing house line, essentially, we're not gonna go any further out, just to build the existing garage that we just had, or that we just talked about, so.
Okay. Questions for Mr. Piper? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this application? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, a motion to approve case 67-2023, 12707 Pawnee Lane, a request for an exception to the side yard setback in accordance with the LDO section 16-2-5.3 parent D parent in an R1 district.
Second.
We have a motion for approval in case 67-2023 and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. You'll be officially notified in writing by the city. Now, the next case this evening is case 68-2023. Katie Trinkle, applicant, Austin Spear owner. This is a request for a variance to the front setback in accordance with LDO Section 16-2-4.5A1 in an R1 district for a property commonly known as 9525 Meadow Lane. The staff have a report, please.
The property owner is planning a major remodel of the home that will include a new front wall, which will be placed 44 feet 1 inch from the front property line. A variance for 5 feet is requested to construct the home as shown on the plan. This property all these homes were built well behind the required 35-foot. They have an average of 49.5, so that's where the variance comes in.
Are there questions for staff?
Mr. Chairman, Wade, this is the wall of the structure. So the whole front of the structure is going to be gone, and it's going to move 5 feet closer to the street.
Correct.
This house has an existing masonry basement, masonry walls.
I believe it will be replaced as well.
So I'm presuming they're going to bring it out past
Right.
the existing wall and
Yeah.
put in a cast-in-place wall.
Correct, yeah. It'd be nice if that stone could be saved, but I don't know if that's in the plan.
Okay, all right. Other additional questions for staff? Is the applicant here? Please give us your name and address, and you may present your case.
Katie Trinkle, 4319 West 69th Street, Prairie Village. Is it okay if I use this projection? So if you can see, the dotted blue line is the setback average between the two houses. The dotted red line is the foundation of the house. The house has a 16-inch stone foundation. We've had it inspected by a structural engineer, and it's in really good condition. So this is, I don't know if you're familiar with this house, but it's a house in disrepair. I think the city's received several calls about this house. It hasn't been occupied in a long time. So what we would like to do is do a small addition to the front, small addition to the back, and a new garage on the side. The current garage is 19 by 19, so by today's standards, that's a little small. A Suburban is, 1810 deep, so we'd like to make the garage a little bigger and have a side entry, and then we would like to give the front a little dimension, and then we're gonna go up and a little bit off the back. And by doing it this way, instead of adding a big addition to the back, it allows us to give a better aesthetic to the front of the house. It also allows us to keep the coverage of the lot down, because we're adding just a little strip to the front and a little strip to the back and not anything more than that. I don't know, are you interested in seeing the elevation that we're proposing?
Yes.
So you can see by looking at this, the masonry section, that's a section that comes forward, and then also the garage, which is right here. It's a new side entry garage. It comes a little forward of that 47-foot building line as well.
Other questions for the applicant?
Can we see the previous view on that? And could someone point out the 35-foot front setback?
You want to see the house?
Oh, no.
I don't know if there's
just that
actually one of the 35-foot, since these are averaged together.
Yeah, these are all set back. All these houses in the area are set back.
But the ones that are adjacent to this one, the one to the south of this is at the same, what it looks for me from the streetscape, is that it's the same distance than what this one is, and the one next to it's a tear down rebuild, I believe,
I
isn't
think
that
it
right?
has a second-story addition,
Or
the house to the north.
second-story
Yeah.
addition to it, and it's the same way. So my concern was, the idea of the setback was try to keep all the fronts of the houses. Yes, great picture, thank you. But this is the neighbor.
Correct, yeah, you can see the stair step, the
Yeah, so
subject house.
you don't see the house that she's speaking of now. It's to the right of this picture.
We have a picture of that as well, I think.
But this shows you what the adjacent houses look like, that they've all been amended and have offshoots and different things on them.
Correct. This one's pretty flat, though. They went up, but they hardly went out the front. What we're really wanting to do is give that house some dimension. And if we were to tear the house down and build it brand new, we'd put it behind the setback because it's an enormous property and we have plenty of room to do that. But because of the way the foundation is today, we can't do,
Well, what I'm getting at is that this is a variance, and on the variance, we've got to talk about 5 different issues, and the one about uniqueness, as you look at each one of these houses all the way up and down, they're pretty much the same, and they're lined up the same, even though some are single-story and some are 2-story type houses. I'm having a hard time grasping the uniqueness of this. But I'm sure my fellow,
Well, I'm grappling with it as well. You mentioned something about the foundation. Is it, what is the foundation constructed of?
it's a 16-inch thick stone foundation.
Stone foundation.
And it's in good shape. So we would really prefer to keep that out of the dumpster
Right.
if possible.
Right.
And that's
So-
why we're proposing reusing all of this rather than tearing it down and pushing it back.
Okay. Help me out with that a little bit. Will that 16-inch wall be torn down and rebuilt
No,
further out? No? Okay. So how will you handle the foundation under the 5 feet that extends beyond the?
it'll be a crawl space.
Okay.
A question, I'm trying to find this, when was this house built?
I'm not quite sure.
Early 50s, I
53.
think. What?
1953.
53, yeah.
1953. I can't even remember back that far. Okay. Thank you.
What, as Dr. Pappas noted, we have to go through the 5 factors.
Sure.
And we have to vote as a board on all 5 factors, and we have to vote in the affirmative on all 5 to support a motion for approval. And so that's why he was questioning the fact that the uniqueness criterion.
One other thing to note, and this just hasn't been brought up, but if you look at the yellow section there, the garage, and then well, the chimney doesn't really matter, but the garage is already about 1.2 feet in front of that property line, the current garage.
No, sorry, say it again, I didn't hear you.
The current garage is already about 1.2 feet, 14 inches ahead of the building line, the average building line.
And the stone foundation is exactly on the building line. Is that correct?
It is. So if you look at that blue dotted line, the red dotted line is the stone foundation. It sits right on the front. So if we were to put anything on the front, a front porch, anything on the front, we have to ask for a variance because we're right there on that average building line.
And the other option that I don't know if you looked at or not, but you mentioned was tear down and rebuild.
We have looked at that option.
Yeah.
We actually have a full set of plans to tear down and rebuild. I think after looking at the foundation, we were hoping not to do that. And I think by doing just a small strip on the back and a small strip on the front, we can really keep the coverage of the lot, the impervious surface down. We're only going to increase it by 1%. If we tore it down and built a new house, it would be much grander than that.
And a tear down and rebuild would involve getting rid of that stone foundation, I assume.
And we're trying really hard to keep that out of the dumpster.
I heard you.
Yeah.
I'm working here.
It's a sustainable approach.
Okay.
This house existing has a chimney out front, right?
Correct.
So when the setback was measured, was that measured to the chimney? Or to the?
It exceeds the setback.
Pardon?
It exceeds the setback. This chimney, it's in front of the setback.
It encroaches or does not encroach?
It encroaches, and also the garage, you can see right here, also encroaches the setback currently.
Already?
Yes.
So, so Wade, was the setback measured to the, what was it measured to? Was it measured to where the chimney is? Because we're talking probably 2 or 3 feet difference there.
The existing house, hi, this is Travis Torres, Director of Building and Code Enforcement. The existing house is legal non-conforming. So to the average front setback. So there's that chimney where that sticks out is just a legal non-conforming part of the existing house and a bit of the garage.
Oh, wait, if you put up that one right there, you can see that the middle highlighted yellow dimension goes back. It doesn't go to the edge of the fireplace. It goes to the original is all the way back to the house. So you can see is it like 5'5"? Is that what that says?
Yeah, 5'5", that's the addition we're proposing, the
Right.
hatched section.
So that's what we're looking at, the variance of 5 feet approximately.
Yes,
And you're
correct.
saying the garage sticks out too?
The garage currently sticks out, and the new garage we're proposing sticks out a little further to make it wider than 19 feet.
One of my fellow commissioners has asked what makes this property unique. Why is it different than the other properties that are right next door to it? Because that's what a factor we have to look at. What makes this property different from your adjacent properties or the other properties in the neighborhood? There's no creek running through it. Now, I like your project. I think it works, and it will be an asset, but that particular factor, unique, that's the one that we struggle with. And so I'm asking if you can let us know why you think your particular property is unique in this situation.
I think it's unique in that the foundation is where it is. We can't move the foundation. So we don't have a lot of choices. If I were to propose to add to the front with a front porch, we'd have to go forward. We can't move the foundation without tearing the house down, which I think that makes this project unique. There's several ways you could probably add on to this house, but I've studied it really hard, and this is the most reasonable, sustainable way to add on to this house, make it a good functioning, beautiful addition to the neighborhood without adding a huge addition off the back.
So perhaps this situation is like what we encounter in old Leawood, north of here, where because of the LDO being what it is, none of them can conform to doing something different. So maybe it's what makes yours unique is that the LDO causes it to be unique.
I think that's a good argument. I mean, there's not many properties around that have a 49-foot, 6-inch setback. The platted building line is 35 foot in the front. So if you average those two setbacks and you get 49 foot, 6 inches, that's already behind what is there today. So the LDO, which was, I think the idea of the LDO and this rule was to keep new homes from being built way far forward or way far back out of that line. We're not asking for that. We're just asking for a 5-foot bump off the front.
Okay.
Wayne, I assume when this house was originally constructed, they were dealing with only the 35-foot setback?
Yeah, yeah.
Do we have a picture of the house next door to the north? I think there was.
Yeah, he showed, that's the one you showed, that with the second story.
Well, kind of hard to see. This house, as I recall, I drove by it, it has bumps out in front too, doesn't it?
It has what looks like a open front porch and some sort of covered something. It's also open. But it's pretty flat. The front wall is pretty flat. They just went straight up. And if we're restricted to do that, that's what this would look like as well.
Looks like the house to the north of that is, it probably has a smaller setback. You think that's correct, Wade?
The second house north.
It is 46-1,
The one north,
the one to the north,
two
yeah.
north or one north?
Well, just to the north of the subject house.
This one is what, 40 what?
46.
46 foot 1 inch.
This one right here, the two-story is 5210. And then the subject house is currently 44-1, and then the house to the north of it is 46-1.
Okay. Are there other questions for the applicant?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to say that Mr. Joe Average homeowner along this street probably would not be able to notice these minor differences in setbacks. And I'm looking at this plan that they show here. To me, it looks like it's just a minor encroachment that, again, the adjacent neighbors would have to step out and really be aware of it before it would, that's me thinking. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's what I think. I think that the value of the project and the fact that the LDO requirements make it difficult for them to achieve it without this relief induces me to think in terms that this project should go forward.
Okay.
Can I say one more thing? I know you asked for the other projects, but you didn't ask for this. We do have letters of support from the neighbor to the south and the neighbor directly across the street.
That was my next question to Wade about.
Yep. I received an email from 9531, so the neighbor to the south, and they're in favor of the request. That's the only letter I have.
There was a second one that was sent just yesterday that was not a part of this packet. I have a copy if you want to read it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because I only have one from Mann,
Newman.
Ed Mann.
There's a second one from Susan Newman. Susan, I think, is the neighbor directly to the south, which is where the greatest difference will be.
So they're supportive.
Yeah, I think if you've seen the condition of the house, I think they're supportive of making it a nice property.
Yes, I saw that it has been lived in a while.
What?
It has been lived in a while, right?
It's really disgusting.
That letter I do have, and it's in your packet from Ms. Newman.
Okay.
The one I received yesterday is from the Manns at 9531.
Okay, yes, we have it. They're supportive for sure. Okay. All right. Other questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this application? Well, this is a variance. So we have to go through we have to evaluate the 5 factors as you can sit down now.
Okay, thank you.
As the case has been presented, we have to vote on each of the 5 factors in the affirmative to support a motion for approval. The first factor we have to evaluate is the uniqueness of the property. Discussion.
Well, I said my piece, that I think that the house being built back in 53 and and our Lee Wood Development Ordinance requirements are the cause of it being unique. It can't get it done without getting these exceptions, and that's what makes it unique to me.
Other comments? All those who feel that the uniqueness criterion is satisfied in this case, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We have voted in the affirmative on the first one. Rights of adjacent property owners is the second factor we have to evaluate.
Mr. Chairman, I'll speak on the rights of adjacent property owners. Nobody has written in and complained, and it doesn't encroach on any neighbor to the front, so it doesn't inflict any rights of the adjacent property owners.
Other comments? All those who feel the second factor, rights of adjacent property owners, has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We have voted in the affirmative on the second factor. The third is hardship.
Mr. Chairman, I'll speak on hardship on this one. I think it's a tough one because here you have a homeowner that has purchased a home that needed a lot of care and upkeep and change, and to meet the LDO and the setback limited them in the ability to do that in a sustainable, cost-effective way. So being able to keep the foundation intact and adding just a small bump out to the front is actually a more conservative approach and shows less hardship than if we were to deny this. They would have to spend a lot more money to achieve a grander, larger, less sustainable addition.
Other comments?
Or rebuild.
Yeah, simply that with both the uniqueness and the hardship factors, this problem was caused largely by the fact that it was built under a 35-foot setback and was well off the setback at that point, and just happens to be on the edge of the new setback because we now measure the setbacks of existing homes. I just find that to be a difficulty that is caused by our LDO, not the homeowner. That's all.
Okay. Other comments?
It's encouraging to see that a person in Leewood is interested in trying to preserve the home rather than to have another tear down, which we've seen so many of.
All those who feel that the third factor, hardship, has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The fourth factor is public safety and general welfare.
Staff observes that it will not affect the public health, safety, and morals. I agree.
All those who feel the public safety and general welfare criterion has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We voted in the affirmative on the fourth factor. And last is spirit and intent.
Well, this project will certainly go forward to preserving the neighborhood's appearance and feel, so I feel it meets this requirement also.
Other comments? All those who feel the spirit and intent criterion has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We have evaluated all 5 factors and voted in the affirmative on all 5. Therefore, we can support a motion for approval in this case.
Mr. Chairman, in case 68, 2023, 9525 Meadow Lane, request for a variance to the front setback in accordance with the LDO section 16-2-4.5A in a 1 and R1 district. I move approval.
Second.
A motion for approval in 68-2023 and a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. You'll be officially notified in writing by the city. The last case for this evening is case, we had one case was withdrawn. So the next case is case 70-2023. David Gajewski, I hope I pronounced that right, Annabelle Mancelis owners. This is a request for a variance to the side yard setback in accordance with LDO section 16-2-5.3D in an R1 district for a property commonly known as 12212 Winonga Lane. The staff have a report, please.
The property owners would like to construct a new addition on the north side of the home. The addition includes a new primary suite and a third-car garage. A variance for 5 feet is needed to construct the addition as shown on the plan.
Further questions for staff?
Mr. Chairman, Wade, I've got a question. As I look at this plat, it presently is a 15-yard setback,
They have a 15-foot setback.
15-foot.
Correct. They want to build it to 10.
So it's not a legal non-conforming that's at, what is it, 5 feet,
So the house currently,
at 10 feet? The house is currently 15.
No, the house, yes, the house is actually further away than 15 feet.
Oh, I see.
I can't see the numbers.
Well, I can't see the number.
The red line is the 15-foot
Large dash.
side setback.
Is the 15-foot setback, so it's running through the proposed additions.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
so the current setback's what? I'm sorry?
It's 15 foot. If you look on the left side of this plan, you see that large dashed line runs through where the proposed additions are. And that's the 15-foot setback line right there. Then that shows you the, what is it, 2 feet? 5 foot. The 5 feet that would extend past the 15 foot.
Yeah.
So the house itself is probably like 20-foot setback.
All the hash is new.
And Wade, is that to the north?
The existing house looks to be about 22.
That's the existing house, that dark black line.
I think
All the hatch is going to be new.
Is that on the north side of the house?
So the house, as it currently is, has a side yard setback that meets the current LDO, is that correct?
It exceeds, yes. I would say it's probably
I think Travis just said 22.
22.
Is that
22
right?
feet.
Is that right, Travis? 22?
Thank you.
Okay. Are there other additional questions for staff?
Staff suggests that there could be some drainage issues because of if a tree is removed, is that the result of a study or just observation?
Just observation. If you notice, the yards are terraced, and several houses flow down to this corner lot.
Other questions for staff? Is the applicant here? You may come to the lectern and give us your name and address and present your case.
Hi, my name is David Gajewski, and the address is 12212 Winonga Lane in Leawood. First, on clarification, I've got my builders here with me, and they were telling me it's 24 feet was the current from the house to the property line at the, right now. And then going over the 5 things that are needed for the variance, I can kind of go over those and answer any questions that you may have. The first one with the uniqueness of the property. We are on a corner lot, and at the south end of the lot is landscaping, and towards the bottom right, more landscaping is where the entrance to Bradford Place where we're at. And I don't know why for sure, but they built the house. It's not centered on the lot. We're actually pushed up a little bit north. And so that makes it unique that we're not, because if we were centered on the property, then a variance wouldn't be necessary to do what we're planning on. For B, the rights of adjacent property owners. With that, I went and actually talked to our one neighbor to the north to let him know, ask if he had any questions or concerns. I spoke with him in person a couple weeks ago and haven't heard anything. We had an annual HOA meeting about 2 weeks ago as well, and during the meeting I let everyone know that if they had any questions or concerns that I was more than happy to answer questions they had. Everyone was positive, no complaints or anything there, so I talked with everyone that was there. For hardships, a few things we've got 2 boys, and when they start driving here, we want to be able to have a place where they can park their cars and stay out of the street. Also, my wife and I's plan is to age in place, and so instead of having to go up to second floors as we get older, this way we can just stay on the main level. The other one is by doing this, we'll be able to maximize the value of our property. Moving on to the public safety and general welfare, I think it could actually help there as well. We have our street, when it snows and everything, they usually clear out that area first, and if we don't have any street parking with the kids' cars out in the street, that it could even enhance that. And then spirit and intent, many other houses in our HOA have 3-car garages, especially several on our street. So the house would still stay in the spirit of things and even match some of the current ones.
Are there questions for the applicant?
I think the one of the big things that we look at obviously is uniqueness, and you've heard that over and over tonight. Can you put the plan back up? Can you explain a little bit on the street side of your property, the reasons why your house was probably centered where it was at? I know there exists a signage there for your
And I'm not sure why.
for your neighborhood development.
Oh, sorry, go.
There's signage there on the corner, and I walk by there quite a bit.
Yeah, and with that signage, I don't know why they didn't center it. I feel like they still could have. I don't know. I think it was built in '84. But so the house does on the north, there's not as much room as there is.
Could you draw a line and kind of show where that signage?
Oh,
Yep,
yes.
there you go.
Yeah, and so here, the house is built a little bit here towards the north instead of over on the south. I'm not for sure. I'm just wondering if they did it because of that. But either way, if this house would have been centered on there, we wouldn't have.
Well, 123rd is a pretty busy street,
It
so
is.
I'm guessing they moved the house away from the street.
Yeah, and I feel like that makes it unique compared to the other houses that are on our street.
And is there a bit of a grade there between the street and your house?
That makes our driveway slanted, yeah. Yeah, because we'd like to level that out too. The boys like playing basketball out there, but yes, there's a grade.
So that kind of wouldn't allow them to move the house any closer to the street as well? Because there's a grade there's a berm from your house side down to the street.
Oh, yeah, and I'm not sure about that, but.
It's where the 3 trees are. Do you have a fence there as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, another thing to consider is that Street Winonga is heavily used as a cut through between 119th and 123rd for multiple neighborhoods. It's a very busy street. Probably you didn't know that when you purchased.
Oh, we knew it was, that it was used a lot. I didn't know how busy it was until we
Yeah.
moved in.
So I can understand why you're wanting to build an additional garage and not have cars on the street.
Yes, because they're, can swing around there pretty quickly.
I have teenagers that have cars on the street in our neighborhood, so I completely understand.
Yes, yes.
Other questions for the applicant? This is a variance, we've got to go through the 5 factors.
Yes.
I'm having trouble with uniqueness here, frankly. Would you like to speak a little more about uniqueness?
Well, and kind of like she was saying as well, with that area, if the house would have been built just a little bit further north, and with it being on the corner lot, I feel like it's unique compared to other houses on the block. You know, if it would have been built on the center, then we wouldn't need to be here asking for the variance. And when I looked at uniqueness of property, it said that and it is not created by an action or actions of the property owner or agent. So I don't know why it wasn't centered on the property. If it would have sure helped us out a lot. So it makes it unique compared to other houses.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Chairman, the staff, in their comments, says they feel it's a typical corner lot and there's nothing unique about the property. So we need some help there on proving that it's unique.
I'd have to look at, I don't know, I didn't measure any of the other corner houses that are on the edge, but I feel that that makes it unique in our block and in our neighborhood. There was well, let's see, yeah, that just, you know, it not being built on the center of the lot makes it to where we're unable to do that without a variance. Because if we would have been our neighbor down the street or up the street in the middle with the houses centered on the property, but we're the odd man out being on the corner and it being set just a little bit off center, so that makes it unique compared to the other houses.
Mr. Chairman, Wade, would you be able to give me a side yard setback to the house that's to the left?
To the north?
To the north?
Let's see. Under rights and adjacent property owners, I did put approval of the request would place the new structure 10 feet from the north property line and approximately 24 feet from the neighbor at 12208.
So he's got a 14-foot
Yeah, he'd be
setback?
approximately, he might be at 15. That was measured on Ames. So,
Okay.
yeah, let's give him the benefit of the doubt of 15
So
feet.
it's not like a 24 or 25-foot setback for him. So he's right on the 14, 15.
Correct, on that side, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the subject house is, what was it, 24 feet away. Mm-hmm. And again, you've got the swell, or the change in elevation that comes from that house. And you can see I'll put a picture up, you can see the elevation change and you see where the water will be headed.
So he's downslope from the house north of him?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then the house to the north of that house has about the same amount of fall. So the whole neighborhood runs to his yard.
Well, is this something that a study, you know, because the size of the swell has to do with helping remove the water from the area. And if that swell decreases in size, now you're making a smaller tunnel for the water to transfer. I'm no engineer, but
Yeah, I don't think it would decrease the swell or the elevation change.
Okay.
But it would place the new structure that much closer to where the water is going to dump out.
Got it.
And again, you can see two very large trees, and one of them would have to be removed, maybe both. I don't know how
got it.
far back the new addition would go.
Okay. Are there other questions? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Is anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this application? If not, then this is a variance, so we have to go through the 5 factors to determine whether we can support a motion for approval or denial in this case. The first is uniqueness of the property.
Well, I just don't feel that they've met that requirement. I agree with the staff finding on that one.
Mr. Chairman, I view it a little bit differently. This is actually on my walking path pretty much daily, and there's quite a bit of slope. You can see the beginning of it to the house to the north, and that street just kind of slips down. On the south side of that property, there's a berm. It slopes down to where the sidewalk is. They do have a fence and tree coverage, so you can't see a lot of that. It is a corner lot, which there's a lot in Leawood. This is a very, very busy street. Winonga it's a cut through. It's where police officers sit. I know on the other side of the street, there's a blind spot. If you come out of the Leawood south side, at that same intersection, you can't see down the hill. This property's on the adjacent side of that. So I do think this intersection itself is kind of unique. In the fact that their house was obviously placed because of the situation of the intersection. They have pretty big, it's Bradford Place, I believe, signage that's metal, wrought iron, lighted in their yard. It's pretty big. So not everybody has that. So I view this as being a unique property.
With the things that you pointed out, does that causes you to think of this as you go patrolling through that area or walking through the area, that this particular property stands out because of those consistent conditions?
It has signage that's cut into it. The back side of it actually has the curb cut goes back up, so it's kind of curved. You can see that in the plan as well. There's other corner lots that are more normal in that Bradford Place area. I would say this one's a little smaller than most, and it has some limitations to it. So with them wanting to add an addition on that north side, that's really the only place they can put it.
Well, I would say, since you are much more familiar with what's going on there and what it looks like, I would concede your point.
Other comments about uniqueness criterion? All those who feel that uniqueness criterion has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Second factor is rights of adjacent property owners. Comments?
There hasn't been any neighbors on the north, like the north side would be the one of concern. They haven't.
Any letters?
All letters were mailed, no calls or complaints have been received.
All those who feel the rights of adjacent property owners criterion has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The third is hardship. Are there comments about hardship?
Well, to just refer back to Member Farrington's comments, apparently if the way this thing's situated, this couldn't be, the addition can't really be built any other place on this property. So that's a significant hardship.
Staff does note, though, that that there's plenty of room that you could put driveways in to park in, right?
Yeah, you can pour a driveway all the way to the property line.
So, I mean, there was concern about having adequate parking, not wanting to park on the street. I can understand that.
Yeah.
So, and that is a factor to consider, so.
A large number of the homes in this area have three-car garages. I don't feel like it's our place to penalize someone who wants to have a garage which is fitting for the area.
True, but also don't know that the hardship is met because the want of a third-car garage.
We're getting the setbacks, I mean, the distance between the house to the north it's right on the setback line. So the houses would be getting pretty close together, I think, frankly.
Well, essentially, they'll be 14 feet closer, won't they? Because you've already got, if it's 24 feet away and it's going to be 10 feet away, that's 14 feet closer.
Right.
Right. That's a
What would
lot.
and what's the total distance structure to structure?
What was that?
What's the total distance structure to structure with the new addition
The existing structure is 24 feet from the property line,
from the property line?
and the other home is probably around 15 feet.
So with the addition at 10 foot, then you'd have 25 feet total distance between the structures, approximately.
Yes.
But again, does it meet the hardship criteria?
Yeah,
Because someone
right.
wants a primary suite.
I understand your point. I got it. I'm not seeing the hardship either. I thought initially you convinced me on that, but while that may be unique, as staff points out, if this request is denied, there's still enough room to construct a new primary suite that meets the setback. There's space there to do that. It may not be the space they want to do it with, but that's where you get into, is the hardship just that you can't do what you want? Or is the hardship that you can't use your property in any expected way?
Can you put the plan back up there? The plat of survey? Yeah. Yeah. So you're basically saying that it could be thinner, the actual structure itself.
Yeah, they could come off of the existing wall, and again, they'd be 24 feet from the property line. They could move a little closer and go to the 15 feet and go straight back.
Okay.
Well, we're not here to design the project. The point is that there's other places a suite could be placed that are within the setback. Is that what you're saying, Wade?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And again, I just don't know that, I don't know how many bedrooms the home has, but is it a hardship if you have a 5-bedroom home over a 4-bedroom?
Well, we were discussing the hardship criterion.
Mr. Chairman, let me put another comment in there, because usually with hardship, there's usually a structure or an easement or something that's in our way that makes the setback change where it's at, because you've got to go around those, or you have those things that you've got to deal with. I'm not seeing that here. And, you know, it's one of those tough cases. It's what the LDO says, and even though the plan looks great and it would probably look just terrific, but it just doesn't fit the guidelines of what's been set out, what it's been set out for. So I'm not sure it's met the hardship, even though it's met the uniqueness. She sold me on the uniqueness, but not on the hardship.
All those who feel the hardship criterion has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no.
No.
Didn't feel, actually, 0 to 5 for the hardship. The next is public safety and general welfare. Comments? I mean, staff was concerned about the garage being so much closer to the north neighbor. I mean, that's one factor. I'm not sure it really affects public safety too much.
Right, because, I mean, they could put the driveway all the way to the property line, so.
All those who feel the public safety and general welfare criterion has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We voted in the affirmative on the fourth factor. And last is spirit and intent. Any comments about the spirit and intent criterion? All those who feel that this criterion has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no?
No. And if I could say one thing about that, so that the record would show our no vote is more about the structure being closer to the people next door.
Let's take another vote on that. All those who feel the spirit and intent criterion has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
No.
No.
Okay, we voted 2 to 3, so we didn't feel that spirit and intent criterion was satisfied. Okay, so the results of our voting is we felt that uniqueness was satisfied, rights adjacent property owners was satisfied, hardship was not, and spirit and intent was not. Therefore, we must support a motion for denial in this case.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move for denial of case 70-2023, address 12212 Wenonga Lane. Request for a variance to the side yard setback in accordance with the LDO, section 16-2-5.3, parent D parent in an R1 district.
Second.
We have a motion for denial in case 70-2023 and a second. All those in favor of denial, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. This motion is denied, so you'll be officially notified in writing by the city. That is the last case for this evening. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
So moved.
We stand adjourned.